Well, hey there, everybody. If I'm going to borrow a line from my good buddy Deluxe, it's good to be back, man. It's been a hectic week. So if you saw my post on YouTube, I had a little bit of a rodent problem. So, yeah, last week I was all ready to go. I had a thumbnail good and ready, and I had a squirrel tear a hole in the roof of my shed, and then just as soon as I patched it, that sucker went through and actually tore a hole right next to it. So I know I posted those up on the community feed, but just in the event you don't follow it, yeah, it was nuts. So let me go ahead and we'll share this out. We'll start off with a little bit of I mean, it's funny but not funny. So yeah, this is this thing chewed through a lot of our patio equipment, a lot of our beach stuff. There's the hole that it tore on the roof. So we've got electricity run to the shed. So I was making runs to Home Depot and Lowe's and getting it all sorts of repellent, like this cayenne pepper stuff. I got a have a heart trap. My wife ended up going and getting this awful smelling stuff that it basically smells like piss and barbecue sauce. But thankfully, and there were two squirrels in there. I caught one. The other one was refusing to leave. It was it's funny, when I was getting ready to start the show, the neighbor actually had some people over, and she recorded the squirrel trying to climb into the door and then calling and screaming for me. So it was not a fun way, and I just couldn't get in a good headspace to really kick off the show. So I apologize for that. I do enjoy doing the show, but I had a lot going on too, because one of my best childhood friends was getting married. So we actually had to get a lot done for his wedding, and I got to be a groomsman in that wedding, and we all ended up looking a bit like the Council of Pee-wees. My wife's looking very beautiful there, but I'm looking like a big Pee-wee Herman. But yeah, so I had a lot going on, but I did get something filmed that'll be up on Thursday. So I've actually got something in, ready to go. And I know I said it a lot, but it's filmed, it's ready. And I'll spoil it. I've got an unboxing of the HasLab Omega Prime from my good buddy G Tony, who gifted me one. I'm very, very, very grateful for that gift. And it's an amazing figure, but there is a caveat. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Before we get into it, even though I've derailed with my opening story, it's Tuesday, it's 9. And if you're watching me here live on YouTube, thank you very much. I wouldn't be able to do the show without each and every one of you awesome people who tune in every week. Really appreciate y'all. And if you could take a moment, hit that like button. Get it as blue as Optimus Prime's head. I'm altering that line from Lethal Lightning. Hit that like button, because it helps me on the algorithm. If you like what I'm doing here, and if you're not already, hopefully tonight's the night I earned your subscription. And if you do, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, so you can stay in the loop when I put up extra content on the channel, like I'm about to do on Thursday. And if you are watching me here live, pop in that live chat over there on YouTube. We've already got some cool folks hanging out. We'll be highlighting your comments, and I'll be talking to you all throughout the course of the show, because I always like to know what you guys are thinking, what you're feeling. If you got anything cool this week, I want to know about it. If you're watching me here on the Replay Squad, leave a comment down below, because I do read all the comments, and I always love hearing what you guys have going on. If you picked up anything cool, or just what you think about the show, or anything we've talked about on here. So before we get into the fun of everything, let's start off with one of my favorite segments, that being this week's Figure of the Week. And this week's Figure of the Week is a relatively new one. This comes from Robot Toys, and this is one that I pre-ordered a while ago, and it just showed up courtesy of TF Safari. And this is Lord Ventagon, or Ventagon, or how I think it's supposed to be Ventagon, but this is a masterpiece scale Beast Wars Scorponok, and this figure is amazing, absolutely amazing. I didn't know that. I was reading on the TFW forums that Robot Toys is actually the rebrand for Metagate. And their Air King was a really, really good figure. And when I got this guy, I was like, man, this the materials and the sculpt work and the just everything about it felt familiar. And that's because, yeah, this is a Metagate product. So, yeah, this thing scales really well with the existing Beast Wars Masterpiece Predacons. I love the fact that out of the box, he came with an alternative head. And this is the more show accurate one. And unfortunately, my light here that I have at my computer is kind of washing out. But this has the goatee. The one caveat to the show accurate head is he does not have an articulated jaw. The version 1 head has an articulated lower jaw, and it's really, really neat. But he does have a eye swapping gimmick, so you can give him a red visor if you so choose. But you do need a spudger to pop that out, so I'm not really going to be able to show it here. He comes with a Cyber Bee that can actually attach to Optimus Primal's chest. So if you happen to have the Beast Wars Optimus Primal, boom, you can get this guy there. And he actually has a light up feature. He also comes with this magnetic disc. It's kind of a neat looking thing, but this is what activates the light on the Cyber Bee. And you can put the missiles in his claws, or you can take one of the missiles out and you can actually get the Cyber Bee. It has a little, it's kind of hard to do. And now that I'm on camera, it's not doing it, but you can get the Cyber Bee in the claw if you so wanted that look. I like the missiles in there. Transformation's actually pretty easy. I'm not going to do it on camera because the hardest part is just getting these legs. As you can see, you got to get all of the articulated legs in. There's an order of operations for them. That's the only tricky part of the transformation. Otherwise, this is actually a really fun figure. I love the fact that it's priced really well. All the articulation you could want is there. The head's on a ball joint and a hinge. You can get it, get the attitude going. You can get them looking down really well, get them looking up pretty well. The tail is on segmented ball joints, so you can do anything you want with the tail, and there's a hinge at the base of it. You can see a lot of motion. Got a lot of ratchets on here. Surprisingly, the upper biceps are ratcheted. I don't know if you can, yeah, there you go. Upper bicep swivel, double jointed, ratcheted elbows. The claws aren't on ratchets, but they don't need to be. And these are actually the other claws. He comes with these more show accurate claws, and the ones that he comes with in the packaging are a little bit smaller. He's got a good ab crunch back and forward. He's got ratcheted hips, ratcheted knees, ratcheted outward hip articulation, ankle pivots. And one of the things that I really love that I will show, I'm not going to transform him all the way, but the scorpion head, if I can get it out of the upper body here. Well, I might not be able to get the scorpion head out without a spudger, but they actually have articulated eyes and eyebrows on the back here, which I think is just freaking awesome. So if you're collecting Beast Wars Masterpiece, this is definitely, this is, I can't say it's a 10 out of 10 yet, but this is up there. Figure of the year category. Definitely a contender. I love how much they give you out of the box. I would say it would be a definite 10 out of 10 if they had a more elegant solution for the legs, the beast mode legs, as well as had they given that show accurate head and articulated jaw. I'd be like right there, but it's easily a definite 9 out of 10 figure. And again, the materials are really good. He looks official. I guess one more gripe is that these thigh swivels, they're not super loose, but they're looser than I'd like. I mean, there's a screw in there. I could probably just take it apart and put a little key on there, but it's not loose enough for me to feel like I need to fix anything, if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely Beast Wars collectors, pick this guy up. You need him in your collection. And I'm really hopeful that they'll do a Tarantulas and a Waspinator or an Air Razor, because I just don't know what's going on with Takara Tomy. And I mean, it's cool that we're getting Rat Trap this year, but the time between Rat Trap and Primal is immense. And I just want to have my Beast Wars masterpieces done. So I just need Inferno. Oh, Inferno would be one. So we need Inferno. We need Air Razor. We need Waspinator. We need Depth Charge and Rampage. And I think we're pretty much good there, unless I'm missing anybody. But between Transarts, and I would like a proper scale Optimal Optimus, but I'm happy with what I have, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that is Robot Toys Lord Ventagon, and I am really looking forward to seeing what they put out next in the scale. If you had any reservations on this guy, I recommend getting him. I recommend going to a place like TF Safari or Show Z, because he's really cheap there. He's well under what the domestic retail sites are charging. He's like I say he was like 87 with my points, so highly recommend him. All right, let's say hi to chat first, and then we'll get into some new stuff. We got my buddy Angry Canadian in here saying, evening, always good to see you, AC. I hope you're doing well. I'm trying to catch some of your game streams, but I've been busy lately. And if you are interested in seeing some game streams, Angry Canadian is a fun streamer to watch. We've got Mario in here saying, what's up, Extra Zero? Just in here chilling, and we got a lot to catch up on. So good to see you in here, Mario. We got Sandro in here saying howdy. Always good to see you. And Mario asking if I saw that Hasbro Pulse is updating everyone who got their figures, their pre-orders locked in. Yeah, I did see that. We'll be talking about that tonight for sure, because I think it's a bit scummy what they're doing. We got TF Hustler saying, party time. Always good to see you, TF Hustler. And yeah, we will be talking about the QC issues as well. We're gonna be not so kind to Hasbro tonight. Before we get into that whole discussion, let's talk some of the convention and Kickstarter news. So first up, getting more guests announced. I mean, it's already May. TFCon Toronto is going to be right around the corner. I know some folks that are going. So I'm not going to either Toronto or Chicago, unfortunately. It's just not in the books for me this year. But Tanya Gennady, the voice of Miko from TF Prime, is going to be there for the whole weekend at TFCon Toronto. So if you're up that way, you got a cool guest to meet. And we also have another one, a voice acting legend, Charlie Adler, who was not only in G1, but was also in the Bayverse's Starscream. He's going to be at TFCon Chicago the whole weekend. So definitely right. He's one of the ones that I still want to meet, just because even outside of Transformers, he's got such a huge laundry list of voice acting under his belt. Big fan of Cow and Chicken. So I'd love to meet him one day. And we got the Skybound Compendium Kickstarter wrapping up. We are at $4.1 million with 17 hours to go. I won't be shocked if this probably hits 4.5 or almost, maybe 4.7 in those last. It would be amazing if it hit 5. Yeah, I'm getting the paperbacks. As much as I'd love to have these, I couldn't justify the cost of entry with other stuff going on, and especially after last weekend, I'm glad I didn't, because I put a lot of money into squirrel deterrence and shed repairs. So hey, we got Junkie on Craftsmanville. Good to see you, Mike. And no, I'm only getting the paperback ones. I pre-ordered both the paperback ones off of Amazon because the $60 price tag was much, much easier to swallow. We've also got Princeton hanging out. Good to see you, Princeton, as always. So yeah, I'm glad to see that there's a lot of enthusiasm behind this, and I hope that between the success of Skybound and the huge renewed interest, I mean, really, over $4 million for a reprint of some old Marvel comics is huge. And I hope that this sends a signal to Hasbro that there are viable stories to tell in the Transformers universe. And look to the comics. Look to the comics for the stories that are worth telling. And I really hope that this helps them realize that the importance of media in the franchise. So I would love to see I would love to see them work with Amazon and get the same team that's done Invincible to adapt Skybound comics as an animated series. You know, and I feel the great thing about that is they could, you know, they could get a toy line going. They could repurpose a lot of what's been in Legacy and Siege and Studio series, and they could really just repackage them as Skybound. And I think that they could find an audience. I think that would be like a really, really smart thing to do. So Princess says it looks, but I'm not getting any. Really not into comics. I mean, I would say even if you're not into comics, I would say give the Skybound stuff a chance. I think you know, even if you don't, I think that's even more of a reason why they should adapt what's there into an animated show, because there's the stories out the gate, and I don't want to spoil anything, but the stories out the gate are so good, and DWJ really got what makes these characters. And I think that after years of like not really knowing what direction the franchise should go in, the Bayverse, I think that Travis Knight really got it. I think Capel didn't. I think an adaptation of the Skybound stuff could be the way to get a new generation interested in Transformers. And I think it would be awesome too to see the stories from the Marvel comics get adapted in some way, shape, or form. I think that would be a good way to go. But just the fact that here we are, $4.1 million and ticking up for a reprint of old Marvel comics. I mean, this has a $40,000 goal to go into production, and there they are, $4.1 million. I mean, that's insane. That's just absolutely insane that they were able to crush it like that. So yeah, I hope this sends the signal, but the current leadership at Hasbro, I'm more than skeptical that this is going to really change anything. You know, before we get into anything dealing with the QC issues with Omega Prime, this came out. This was posted over on Sabertron, and there was an email that went out from Pulse. Let me just go back here. Of course, I don't think they're going to let us click on this, but the CEO of Hasbro, Chris Cox, not a fan of him. He warned early on that Hasbro would pass any extra expenses they may incur from tariffs to the consumers, and that it would disproportionately affect toys bought by fans. So that the toys targeting only kids and families would rise less in price, which, you know, look, Vietnam, you know, again, I'm not talking tariffs on this channel. I've said my piece on them. But we know that Transformers primarily are made in Vietnam right now. And Vietnam was one of the first countries to come and do trade negotiations. So I think that this is kind of silly. I have noticed, I don't think it's going to be too big of a price increase. I have noticed that on Amazon, Alchemist Prime hopped from $24.99 to $27.99. It sucks having any increase, because it's like 10 years ago, we were still at a $14.99 price point for deluxes, and you got a comic, and you got the hand-foot gun. I'm not a fan of Combiner Wars, and you could make the arguments about part counts and all, but you got a lot more printed goods, and it just doesn't really seem like the price increases justified the changes to engineering. Regardless, it seems like, you know, this is just kind of an opportunity for Hasbro and Chris Cox to take advantage of the current economic situation and the fact that, you know, they're constantly talking about less people buying toys, and really just having the collector market foot the bill for some of the declines, especially with kids. Again, we don't know what the prices are going to go up to, but my only litmus for it is what I saw, and that Alchemist Prime is the one that is sold by Amazon. I'll pull that up next. But basically, they've given fans until May 9th at 12:01 midnight to get all their pre-order pricing locked in, basically stating that hey, if you lock, they will honor the pre-order prices now, but after that deadline, they're going to be bumping them up. So I think that's unfortunate. I mean, I'm glad that they're communicating to the fans that, you know, expect it. They're not going to do it just out of the blue. But I still really don't like how they're handling any of this. So, you know, over here on Amazon, you can see Alchemist Prime's the only one that I've seen that has this $27.99, and this isn't a third-party seller. This is from Amazon. This is shipped and sold by Amazon.com. So my best guess is that we're probably going to be seeing this price across the board for deluxes. I think it's foolish as well, because I think, you know, you're going to see less Gotta Catch 'Em All. I think that the price point, the $25 price point, was already pretty fragile for a lot of collectors. So, you know, and I'm seeing a lot of repaints lately, shelf form, especially like I was surprised. I've been seeing Wasp everywhere I go. I see animated Wasp, which is a great figure, and it's one that people have wanted forever. But I'm seeing Wasp's shelf form. I'm seeing the Studio Series Jazz reissues shelf form. So I really don't know if this is going to stick. And I mean, it will stick if you give into it. It will stick if you just, you know, we do what we did when they raised it to 20, and we do what we did when they raised it to 25. But I think this will be a tipping point for a lot of people, because, you know, just inflation has outpaced wages for many people. And, you know, it's an unfortunate thing. Even going here now, I already see even more price increases. I'm going to share out because, you know, my next story, but, you know, TFW always has affiliate links, and I'm seeing now Vortex is $27.99. There's Alchemist again. There is Crasher, which is insane because I got Crasher as on clearance when she was part of the Velocitron line at Walmart. I just think it's a bad move too for Hasbro, given how much of their inventory is going to Ollie's. You know, that's the other risk they run, is that this stuff won't sell at the price point, and it's going to go right into discount stores. So I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic about the brand. I want the brand to thrive. I think that Evan and Mark are the best designers that we've ever had from the West. But yeah, this current CEO for Hasbro, he's just awful. And I think that there's a big disconnect. And I think that between him and the shareholders, I don't think the company's in the best hands. And I really hope that there can be some changes to leadership, because I think, again, Evan and Mark are fantastic. And I want them to be around for a good long time, because they're doing some really awesome stuff with the franchise. So now I'll get into a little bit more bashing on Hasbro. So as you probably all know, and again, I don't like being negative here, but I got to call it like I see it. This was kind of devastating for a lot of people. Now, I mentioned when I was on Figure Action, I mentioned here that I did not back this project at all. But my good friend G Tony, knowing that I'm a Prime guy, and when I was, you know, part of Figure Action, he really wanted to gift me one. And I happily have an Omega Prime now. And mine, spoilers, mine does have this issue. So there is a bevy of potential QC issues with the Omega Prime, where there's a slider joint in the abdominal section, and the tolerances are not right. So this T-shaped gray piece is wider than it should be, and for some, it's breaking the teeth in here. So the semi-ratcheted function ceases to work, and it becomes kind of loose and floppy. Or in some other cases, people are getting hairline fractures on the ab section of their Optimus, and they're getting them either right out of the box or from their first transformation. Now, I'm going to pull the big guy himself over here, and I'm going to stop sharing so you can see. So here you're probably like, well, he's in combined mode. He's fine. Yes, he is in combined mode. And in combined mode, he's fine. He's fine in the super mode as well. And you go ahead. We'll get blue bolts off. And again, on Thursday, I'll have the full unboxing video up so everybody can see it. But yeah, when I got mine out of the box, the first thing I did was check. And hopefully you all will be able to see this, but right out of the box, where my finger is here, it's really hard to see. There it is. Now you can see it. I have the hairline fracture, and that was without transforming it or anything. Now for mine, the sliding mechanism, it works fine. It has an okay amount of resistance. So I don't think that the teeth are broken in it at all. I don't think anything's sheared off. But the first thing I did was reach out to Hasbro. So going back to, the news articles and all about this, people are saying like, hey, go ahead and reach out to Hasbro directly. Go ahead and you can email them, you can call them. Now here's my challenge, and I'm glad that I'm friends with G Tony. I don't want to make the man jump through hoops. I'm grateful and gracious that he provided me such an amazing gift, and for what it's worth, even with that hairline fracture, I love this thing and I can't express how happy I am to have it. But Hasbro being Hasbro, and I worry for anybody that's buying this off of eBay or buying this figure secondhand, or buying this figure from a store like the Chosen Prime or BBTS or any of the independent retailers, right, that bought Hasbro inventory. When I reached out to Hasbro, they told me the only way to get a replacement is to have the original buyer call and contact them and request the replacement. How effing bass-ackwards is that? That you have to have the and they know that how crowdfunding works. They know that there are going to be people that, hey, I didn't want this during the crowdfunding. I waited for reviews, or I didn't have the money at the time. It happens every single Kickstarter. But I'm glad that they're giving replacements out. Now, I will have to package this up. I'll have to have, like, when they send it to G Tony, he's going to send me the UPS slip so I can send it back through UPS to go back to Hasbro. And then when they have new inventory, they'll send me a new one. But like, why does he have to jump through the hoop? That's not, I mean, look, I'm super grateful that he bought that. And I'm like, I don't want to make, him have to sit on the phone and talk to them, because that's what you do. You have to sit on the phone and talk to them and tell them, hey, yeah, I have a broken one. And then they send you a form. So I sent him the picture. So he has to fill out the form and attach the picture. And I'm like, why does he have to be the one to do that? Like, that's such a big inconvenience. It's like, makes zero sense that they're, and yeah, like Mike's saying here, they're doing everything possible not to replace the figures. It feels like it. It feels like they're creating a hassle. And I know that like probably 85% of the people that have bought this figure bought it to, for themselves. But then also, this is such a widespread QC issue. And I mean, I've been seeing it all over Facebook. I've been seeing it all over TFW. Like, how did you not catch this in your assembly process? How'd you not catch this at all? This is and again, there were issues with Star Saber. And this is also bad too, because there are a lot of people that purchase these Kickstarters as an investment. Now, I'm not a mint and box collector. I'm not somebody that advocates for buying a figure for an investment, but there are people that do it, and that's their business, and that's how they enjoy the hobby, or they see it as a good financial decision. There's a lot of people that do that. So now they're going to have to open up their shipper and open up all the boxes and inspect everything. And they can't say that their figure's sealed anymore. I mean, I guess they could, but then people will be reluctant to open it because is it going to be broken inside? I was just watching Captain Kyle yesterday on Toy Spotlight. Great channel. Check it out. And he bought the Millennium Falcon set, the old Star Wars crossover one. And like he opened it up because like, and when he opened it up, GPS struck that Chewie. She was like, why did I buy a broken toy? I'm gonna have to talk to a vendor. And then it was all GPS. But yeah, it's like Hasbro really needs to get their QC in order for collectors, because this is just really not acceptable. Now, I've backed Unicron. I did have a break when I moved. I broke one of the rings trying to get it off. I whacked my coffee table and I got like a little stress fracture. Now, Hasbro sent me a new piece, and I appreciate that. I was fortunate that with my Star Saber, I didn't have enough QC issues to warrant sending it back. I had like one scratch on the chest, and I'm like, I'm not gonna like send it back. My Death Source was perfect, but and again, while I didn't back Omega Prime here, it's just like I was like, oh, I sure hope that I don't have the issue, and yeah, I have the issue. I'm sure it'll get taken care of. And, you know, I'm beyond grateful to G Tony for sending me one. And I know that this will get fixed. But I just think it's crappy that like now my friend has to call Hasbro on my behalf and jump through even more hoops when really sending me an expensive figure, you know, out of his own kindness was a hurdle itself. And I do really appreciate it. So I'm going to do content for this guy. I'm going to do the unboxing. That'll be up Thursday. And then when I get the replacement, probably in June or early July, I plan on doing an in-depth review and just checking and seeing, you know, did they fix things? Did they make any of the plastic better? And really just talking about that figure. So yeah, that was my experience with Omega Prime. But yeah, it really is a cool figure. It really is. It's just that one mistake, and like the sword, like this sword is really well done. It's just, you know, they fumbled the ball in one area, but they fumbled the ball and they lost the game, is the sort of fumble it was. Mario asking, with the Mega Prime having its QC issues, do you think it will have the same effect on the next, which is Lio Kaiser? I really don't know, because it seems like every other HasLab has issues. I think Lio Kaiser will be okay, but really, we never know. I mean, at least their customer service takes care of the customers, but it'll be really curious to see what happens with Lio Kaiser and what kind of issues people run into. I mean, it's also weird too, because with Omega Prime, they bumped the date up. Like, he was supposed to come out this fall, and they're like, oh no, we're ready to go. People in New Zealand got theirs back in February, if you remember, like late February, early March. And I was like, wow, they must have had a good production run. They must be ready. And here we are with this widespread fracturing issue. And why they didn't just put like a proper spring-loaded ratchet in here? Why are they using like teeth and tension? You know, all the materials in this feel great. Like the ratchets all around, this feels old school. This feels like something you'd get 20 years ago. But just for whatever reason, they cheaped out in the abdominal section. And it's just like, why? I mean, there's a couple areas too where I could argue they cheaped out on like the antennae, on the Super Mode head and the Omega Prime head. They're 5mm port. I don't like it, but then also they aren't going to break. And then there's like a piece, like there's a piece on Magnus that isn't pinned on. It's just connected through a friction fit. And I'm like, that you should have pinned on. But I mean, otherwise, again, this figure really does feel like something that should have come out. It feels like a marked improvement. If it had more articulated hands, I would say that it could be considered a masterpiece version of these characters. I'm sure DNA will do new hands for them. I can almost guarantee it. But yeah, just that abdominal. Oh yeah, also too the light bar. Like I think this should have been pinned on. Like why the light bar is just 5mm ports when the original was pinned on. I feel like those should have been pinned on. But otherwise, this figure is so close to absolute greatness. And again, I've talked to G Tony. He's helping me out with it. I can't express how much I appreciate the fact that he's doing all that for me. And I'm sure when I get my 2.0, it'll be fine. And I can say with certainty that this is a good figure, but the QC issues are inexcusable. So moving on, move on to some less like, we'll beat up on Hasbro a little bit less. We get a look. This came from a Chinese, I think this was a mall advertisement, and we get a good look here at Alpha Trion. So this was the Taobao flagship store in China. And I don't know that I can really zoom in, but you actually can. You can actually see if that'll load. Go to that actual site. But they do have a web page here. And it's interesting that they were advertising Transformers 1 in theaters. And it is really zoomed in there. But yeah, you can see here there is the new mold for Alpha Trion. So he's not going to be just a redo of the Scourge Studio Series mold. It looks like we're getting something that's kind of similar to what we got in Titan's Return. So what I can't tell is whether or not this is going to be a remold of the G-Axis or Vector Prime mold. I don't think it will be. It does look similar, or if it's going to be kind of a redo of the Titan's Return triple changer, which I think would be pretty cool because that kind of connects Transformers 1 and the kind of the original concept for Alpha Trion. So, that's it's going to be interesting to see when we get a reveal. I'm sure he's going to be a Voyager. I believe JT Prime 17 had a listing for Voyager. And even as a Voyager, he could still be a triple changer since, again, the Titan's Return was a Voyager and it did that whole ship mode and the line. That was a really interesting retool of Broadside, of all things, to create Alpha Trion. And I kind of would like to see that design refined because, for what it's worth, I did like that design. I think it was just kind of hindered by the Titan's Return jank. So I'm sure we'll be seeing some actual prototype pictures in the coming months. We also have been seeing listings for loose copies of the Gamer Edition Thundercracker. So this is the last Seeker from the Studio Series Gamer Editions. And this seller is in Singapore. So again, nothing different. I mean, it's just standard fare, but you get a look at the sort of blue that they're going to be using for Thundercracker, as well as just kind of the general deco. And, I like it. I would have liked this shot with Skywarp as well. But I'm digging the fact that we're finally going to have the trio from the game. And he's looking pretty good. I just wouldn't recommend paying $80 because I think Skywarp went on sale real quick. And yeah, I'm looking forward to completing the set. But I'm not going to pay early prices, let alone have a loose figure. And then for Wild King, we get a look at some new wild beasts. So we get Ignite Leo, Spirituan, Drill No Horn, and Thunderbeak. And again, we get the conversion. These are all kind of deluxe prices. And again, this is a kid line. But here we go. Get a look at this dude. It turns into a bit of a lion. And Larkin's Lair, I know he got some of these figures, so I'm looking forward to seeing what his thoughts are. And you can kind of see how these combine with that Wild King Prime. I do like this dino and the deco. It's just the only thing really keep me from it is, the lack of ankle articulation kind of kills them for me. But yes, this one's Spirituan, And then the first one we had was Ignite Leo. And let's get down a little bit, and then we can see him combined up with Megatron. I do think that Megatron looks pretty cool. I know Larkin had picked up the first wave. We get Drill No Horn, which is a Rhino. We don't get too many Rhino Transformers. I think Backstop kind of killed the momentum, even though, you know, Rhinox is such a fan favorite. And yeah, the play pattern on these is pretty basic. And then we get Thunderbeak, which is a bit different. We get Pterodactyl. He also looks pretty cool. I think the dinosaur ones are probably my favorite out of all of them. There you go. There's your look at what we're getting from Wild King. I'm sure we'll probably also get some new core robots. I think episodes 3 and 4 hit YouTube, and you know, they are getting fan subbed. But it's a silly little show. I wish it was a little bit more substantial, I guess. But I do think this whole play pattern and building is neat, and making these ridiculous builds is also pretty cool. You can see kids having a lot of fun with this, but it's definitely not a collector-focused line, though collectors could have fun with it. I know probably Botbender Orange is going to have a field day with these when he gets them in his hand. And Lord Botha coming in. Good to see you over here. He said, super off topic, but I thought I'd pop in and tell you it was good. He bought the AMD 7700 board comp. Oh, wow. Oh, well, let me reread that. He said, I thought to pop in and tell you it was good. I bought the AMD 7700 CPU and board combo when I did. It's gone up 100 in price since. Yeah, a lot of uncertainty with prices all around, but also glad to hear that you got your parts, and hopefully that helps you out with your streaming. So we also have Mario coming back saying, I saw Chris Jam's video about the price increases on Pulse on May 9th for predictions, and some on the TFW board thinks that, yeah, 27 Deluxe, 39 Voyager, 61 Leader, 100 Commander, and 160. Yeah, that probably will be accurate. I do think, too, I did see news before I started the stream that China is actually going in and having trade negotiations. But again, with Hasbro, they'll look for that excuse. They'll look for the reason to up the price, and they'll do it. So, yeah, it's just I think this is going to be an interesting year for collecting all around, and not necessarily in a good way. Safe for fact, we're getting some cool bots, but I definitely think if you're not happy with the prices, vote with your wallet and pick and choose. Don't have to catch them all. These ones are more meant for kids, but this is a new release we're getting. These are new stock images of the Transformers Bot Racers. This is a Bumblebee and Starscream 2-pack. I thought this was interesting to highlight. I look for these things I have a young nephew, and I'm trying to get him into Transformers. So these are really simple ones for kids, and it's also kind of funny to see Starscream as a car, let alone a drag racer. So my understanding is these are redecos. I think the Bumblebee was already Bumblebee, and I think I've read that the Starscream was Whirl of all things. But yeah, this I believe this is an Amazon pack. But yeah, I just thought that was a funny little thing to pull up. Next up, Skybound is celebrating the second anniversary of Transformers, and they shared some of the cover artwork. And this is just a really, really cool mural. I would love a print of this. Well, it's really just a second anniversary of Skybound's Energon universe in general. And this is looking pretty good. I actually really like the ink, you know, the black and white ink work there. But cool stuff all around. And then they go in and talking about Transformers 21 and Void Rivals 20. And you can get the variant covers for these. So cool stuff. These are going to be out June 11th. So really, Transformers 21's out June 11th, and G.I. Joe number 8's June 18th. Void Rivals 20, June 25th. And these are a whole connecting set. So you could buy the set and make your own mural, which would be pretty cool. And the black and white variants are also available for those. And if you're looking for a cool place to keep your books, Nemesis Now is doing these Optimus Prime bookends. If I read like my wife does, I would probably consider getting these. But I have all my DVDs on shelves. And this one just isn't one that I really have any functional purpose for. If I did, I'd get it. Very cool. But I don't have enough to really warrant it. All of my compendiums and my issues I keep in pool boxes. So, but if you are getting that Skybound Kickstarter, this would be a really, really cool piece to pick up. So, no price on this one yet. I'm sure it's probably going to be on the pricier end. And speaking of the pricier end, Nemesis Now is also doing Heroes of Cybertron tankards. Again, these are, Transformers themed steins. And these are coming in at about 70 pounds, probably in at about $70 US. And you've got a raised Rodimus. Well, I guess maybe it's still Hot Rod there. And Optimus Prime, kind of a Transformers the movie motif. And yeah, these are looking pretty good. If I still drank beer, I would probably consider getting this, even though it's kind of cool. You know what? Honestly, if it does come to the States for a good price, I might get one just to keep at my bar. Just because I don't know. I do really like it, and you don't have to just drink beer out of it. So the 70 is steep. If I saw this this cheaper, that, or if I don't know what to ask the wife for Christmas, I'll be like, just get me this Heroes of Cybertron tankard. Now, one thing I will be getting, I do have a nerd Christmas tree. I always post that on my social media. They've got some new already, even though we're just in May. Hallmark's shown their 2025 Transformers tree ornaments. So I do like the Christmas tree ornaments, and we've got one called Megatron's Might. And I like the fact this one's not gigantic, because a lot of these Hallmark ornaments have gotten huge, and I've gotten close to running out of space on the tree. So we got Megatron's Might here. It is a 3¼ inch ornament. I think that looks pretty cool. So I will probably pick that up from the Hallmark store. And you can also get the 76 Camaro, Bumblebee from the 07 movie. And this one's actually a metal ornament. And knowing Hallmark, it probably has wheels that spin. I'm less interested in this one. Because, again, I'm not, even though I know far too much about the Bayverse, I'm not a big enough fan to put Bayverse stuff on my Christmas tree. I'm sorry, but still cool that it exists for those that want it. But I will really just be sticking with this Megatron one. And then whatever video game console ornament they come out with, those are where I normally buy 2 ornaments a year. And we're also getting more blind box stuff from Transformers. This comes from the Chinese company Tanmi Space, and these are the Action Battler blind box figures. And these come packed kind of similarly to the way that the blockies look, but there's no assembly required. You're just getting a articulated figure, kind of similar to what you'd get with the Super 7 reaction figures. And they come with accessories. They are tiny though. They're about, it looks like 3 inches tall. And there you go. So pretty neat, though. They are definitely lacking in detail compared to blockies. So yeah. Look, if I got the Bumblebee ornament, Mike, I would be happy if it was a gift. But I'm not going to go out of my way to buy it, because I've got so much stuff on the tree. I think we actually left ornaments out. But yeah, in this first wave, you get Prime, Nemesis Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, Shockwave, and Coronation Starscream. And yeah, then there's the Golden Lagoon Chase figure. These are probably on the cheaper side. If I had to guess, they're probably a few bucks like blockies. But I think blockies are just probably your better buy, because the fun factor of putting them all together. Oh, and we already looked at the Thundercracker. So we got a lot of stuff to catch up on the third-party scene. And let's go through. We'll start off with our add-on kits. This one's actually one I probably will wind up picking up. It's a simple kit. This is DK57M, and they're doing 2 flavors of this, one for Armada Megatron and one for Armada Galvatron. And what makes this cool are the pieces that you get for Tidal Wave. I take this back. There's one for Megatron, one for Galvatron, but because they're both for Tidal Wave. I shouldn't get it twisted here. But they're getting some structural reinforcement parts for the legs on Tidal Wave, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that there were any issues with that. There aren't any on mine, but cool the DNA is doing something to protect those pieces. This is the whole reason I would get it, is this allows you to put a back plate onto your Tidal Wave, 1, to tidy it up, and 2, if you want to combine up your Tidal Wave parts with a Megatron or a Galvatron, you can do so without a big gaping hole in Tidal Wave's back. Also, too, this is definitely a piece that I think is a good idea. Now, on mine, it holds together all right, but if you go and watch Patriot Prime's review, he had this issue where this part, this part of the figure, well, what becomes the lower leg, I forget what part of the Dark Fleet it is, but his just, for the life of him, won't stick together well. So it looks like they're addressing that. And then those parts, it does make it a little bit parts formery, but you can store the pieces under the feet, which I think is cool. You get new horns for your Megatron, as well as wrist fillers. So again, that's awesome right there. And I kind of like the stock horns, to be honest, but you also get new parts so his shoulders can actually move. So I think that's pretty awesome. Again, for me, I probably would just keep the original horns on, unless I just really like those in person. I'm sure those are probably a bit more anime accurate, but I don't know what they're going to do for Galvatron because they glued the horns on. But for Megatron, they're on 5mm ports and they pop right off. But you get a look at how the new horns look in the tank mode, how the new joints look in tank mode for the shoulders. And then we get a look at the Galvatron kit, which I think it's pretty smart that they don't make you buy the Tidal Wave parts twice. But there you go. I also wish that they included thumbs for Tidal Wave. So if you do combine them up, like, you're not losing those parts by having them combined. You can have a Tidal Wave and you can have a combined up Megatron or Galvatron on display at the same time. Not the biggest deal, but that would have been cool if they just had gone the extra step. But yeah, this set is coming later this year. So it looks like it's coming out in August at the end of summer. Pre-orders are up, but don't really have a price on this one yet. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be in around the $40 range. And then we also get an update on the 86 Optimus Prime kit. And DNA is coming back to say that the production schedule is going to be slightly delayed with expected shipping between June and July. But they are adding parts to this. So, you get some extra pieces for the Matrix Chamber that really, I think, help bring it to life. You're also getting new side skirts for Prime, which is pretty cool. And, they're showing off the original, and then you can see those new Matrix pieces in there, as well as those new side hip skirt pieces. So if you, for whatever reason, that gap bothered you on the side of him, you now have filler part. That's what DNA does best. It doesn't seem like they're changing the price. It's just that fans that want this have to wait for a delay. Actually, let me take that back. They are doing a vote. But I'm sure the vote ended on May 2nd. So yeah, they obviously the fans wanted more for this one. Then going over to the fans hobby page, we've got a look at a near finished Metal Hawk. And we get a look at him in his final production colors, looking pretty much finished. And I'm not so sure how I feel about the face. Like, it does look very in keeping with, like, an anime deco, kind of like what they do with like a Spike or a Carly. But it is weird seeing a human face. I think it's cool that all that's there, and you get a comparison shot here finally to show how he stacks up with like the Headmaster Juniors. I think this is how most people, including myself, are going to be keeping him. So he's going to be a little bit big next to the official Ginrai, but I don't think he's going to be too big to really disrupt the display too much. Then, courtesy of TM Reviews, we get a look here at the alternate colors of Stray with the red windshield. This looks really, really good, and I will be picking this one up. I love the fact that he gets extra weapons here, like the fact that he gets the gun and the spoiler. And I'm actually kind of hoping that I get the red windows on mine, having seen those. And I love this new deco on the sword as well. Just really love how this looks all around. I think for mine, the first one that I got, I'm going to be putting the concept art head, and then this guy will be my, my what if G1 IDW-ish Earth mode drift. Then also, this comes from Third Party Unlimited. We get a look at this golden version of the golden age of Cybertron. This is a gold deco of the Studio Seed. Their take on a Primus. Oh, my echo picking up something I said. But yeah, if you saw some of the old Marvel comics, you'd see like Cybertron depicted in gold, and I think that's what they're going for here. I do think this deco works really, really well, to be honest. I like it. I like that it's unique. I like it. It looks very Marvel Comics. I'm surprised they don't have the alternate head to go with it. I know also, too, the bot mode for Primus was kind of like completely svelte in the Marvel Comics, and he was completely done in gold in some of the pictures. But yeah, this is a neat take. If you missed out on the first one, I think this would be a good alternative. Or maybe if you found the colors too boring or too similar to the Cybertron Primus. I'm curious what's going on with the different color space bridges that they've got. Maybe they're just kind of testing the waters. Personally, for me, I like that. I'm kind of torn between the white and the clear orange. I think is looking pretty cool. I don't know what it is about that clear orange, but I think that looks pretty neat. I have seen some people say that they're worried about GPS on this, but it's really mustard colored plastic. I wouldn't worry about it at all. Next up, this comes from Agabus, well ahead of their BotCon convention. You can get Spectre General, at least you could. If you happen to have pre-ordered Spectre General, which is their Shattered Glass or Diacolon Ultra Magnus, depending on how you want to display them from X-Transbots, you can get yours already well ahead of the convention. I think this is an interesting way of doing it. I'm sure for a lot of people, the people that wanted to get it at the convention will just do so. But for the people that, again, you could make some arguments about how exclusive should work, but it's kind of interesting that for BotCon, if you just wanted the figure and wanted to pre-order it, you could just get it ahead of the convention. Again, they got a partial shipment in. They didn't get all of them, but for the people that were the first to pre-order, they're already getting their Spectre Generals. So it'll be cool to see this get reviewed. And X-Transbots is also doing a metallic version of Stack. So if you wanted their Commander Stack in more kind of like metallic colors in keeping with like what Fans Toys does, they've got an offering. From everything I hear, this is a pretty decent figure. It's got electronics like the Takara Tomy. It is a all-in-one transformation. So there's no parts forming. There's no inner robot. I think this deco does look nice. For me, I'm just sticking with my original Takara Tomy because he's just a big guy. He stands in the back looking stoic. This is if you needed your Magnus to have updated proportions or you wanted to have more articulation, this is the Magnus for you. Especially if you also wanted the tune-accurate transformation with no inner white robot. And yeah, this does look very, very good. And you get a lot of face options too, whether you want to go movie or more of the season 3 aesthetic. They give it to you there. And I will say it is a good looking truck mode as well, especially with that metallic deco. So good stuff from X-Trans. You can see the light up eyes in action there. And lastly, the big one, we get a look. This comes from Transformers 3D printing. Some mad lads actually printed up a 6-foot tall Unicron. That's like the biggest ball joint I think I've ever seen on anything. And they are calling this the divorce class size. So the footnote here is that they are working on wings for this print. And they're going to have the spikes and wings added once the figure is able to stand. So let me go back. Let's go to their Facebook page here. But I thought there were pictures on here. Maybe I'm mistaken. It might be in the comments here. Let's look. But yeah, I did see pictures of it looked like the guy, maybe the guy's wife. There we go. Could be wife or daughter, maybe daughter, laying next to it. And that's just such an impressive piece. And it looks like Alvin Reyes is the creator of this piece. Just absolutely impressive. So we're really curious to see if he puts out these files for others to do. But yeah, just I love seeing what people come up with and cook up, and just the 3D printing scene has just been an absolute game changer for the hobby. And I won't be shocked if you see more people getting into it with some of the price increases and the price hikes going on and making their own figures. I know a lot of people that got into 3D printing did so to enhance their figures, but you know, as sophisticated as these printers are getting and as clean as some of the prints are getting, I can certainly see like that being the next wave of like the garage kits and the third-party scene. So Mario's coming in with another question here. He says, actually, I was curious if you saw the previous question about Hasbro Pulse increasing prices, how do you think it will affect the other retailers? I think that what we're seeing with Amazon is an indication of that already. I think that Walmart and Target, the brick and mortar places, will probably hold out a little bit. But I don't think it'll take long for some of them to put that price out. And then, you know, I think it'll be kind of similar to what we saw when we went from the $10 to the $14 price increase, where the prices were officially $14, but they would constantly have the figures on sale. I think you'll probably see a lot more people wait for places like Target to do their, you know, 25% off toys, 20% off toys, 10% off, you know, that sort of thing, where they go in and buy their figures. I think you will see e-tailers like BBTS, like places like BBTS and sites that are smaller, like Nerdzoic, they have no choice to raise their prices, you know. So I think we'll see it pretty quickly, but I don't know how long it'll last, and I don't know if we will see everybody adopt it for sure. Like I said, I do think Target and Walmart will hold out and try and offer lower prices where they can, but I think they still will officially move the prices back up. It's also been a long time since I've seen, like, you know, sale prices at Walmart. Everything just kind of seems to go from retail to clearance. Like, it used to be you go into Walmart and you'd see things on sale in the toy aisle. Now you really don't. It's either full price or clearance. But that's not to say Walmart might not go to that $27.99 price tag. They may go up to $26.99. But I mean, they know that these figures are collector oriented. Like the kids ones, they probably will want to keep lower. But it also depends on like what Hasbro adjusts the margins to. If Hasbro adjusts the margins, then they may have really no choice. But yeah, I don't think that I don't think it's going to take everywhere, but definitely online it will. But we'll see, and we'll also see like what they bump the prices up to come next week. I'm sure we'll be talking about it right here. So with that, we're a little bit past the hour mark. This is a great place to wrap it up. So if you haven't already, smash that like button because it does help me out quite a bit in the algorithm. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button because that also helps me out. Trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. We're nearing closer and closer to 300. I think it'd be cool to get a little bit of a bump. And I know to do that, I got to get some content out. So on Thursday, we're going to have that unboxing video and kind of an overview of Omega Prime and all its, individual components. And I'll be doing a collection tour video and some other cool stuff right here on the channel. So if you haven't already hit that notification bell, consider doing so because you'll get alerts when it all goes live. But with that, I hope everybody has a great week ahead. Thanks to everybody in the chat who hung out with us tonight. Again, I wouldn't be able to do this show without all of you awesome people. So thanks for dropping by. Thanks for hanging out. And if you're watching me here on the replay, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's anything cool that I showed off. Let me know if there's anything you're looking forward to, how you're feeling about these price hikes, or if you got an Omega Prime and had issues, or if yours was A-okay. I want to know. So without further ado, that'll wrap up tonight's episode. I hope you all have a great week ahead, and I'll see you all next Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, right here for 0 Hour. Have a good one, y'all.